I'm Sam Hammery with Erlex. I've been a custom cabinet maker and furniture maker for over 25 years. I've designed, finished, and installed thousands of kitchens, bathrooms, wall units, and entertainment centers. And I've joined up with Erlex to help bring you the best spray systems available today. The purpose of this video is to introduce you to the Erlex Spray Station HVLP. I'll cover all the relevant topics, and I'll walk you through a couple of typical projects you may have at the house today. This tool is a real workhorse for a small to medium-sized shop. I found I can spray all kinds of coatings with this system. I've finished fine furniture, painted the interior of my house, the exterior of my house, and I even stained my wood fence with it. And the thing is, it's so easy to use and clean up at the end of the day. Now that you've purchased your Erlex Spray Station 5500, I want to show you what came in the box. You've got your turbine unit. It's a two-stage turbine. Comes with onboard hose storage and electrical cord storage wraps around the bottom here. Got your Pro gun. I'll show you what that looks like. Real nice gun, all aluminum, stainless steel needles and tips, Teflon coated cup. We got your viscosity cup for measuring the thickness of your fluids. We've got the dedicated tool that takes the nozzle off the gun. This only fits the nozzle and other parts on this particular gun. And we've got a little cleaning tool in here, a little brush. And we've got the exploded parts view should you need to order any extra parts for the gun at any time. We also have the owner's manual. The owner's manual has some information in it. It's got a little bit of a guideline as to how to thin and that kind of thing. And it also has some tech support phone numbers and customer service phone numbers, so you can give us a call if you have any problems. I'll show you how to set this up. Basically, you unclip the hose and remove it from the unit. You've got 13 feet of hose, so that's lots of flexibility. You can move around wherever you need to be. This is a friction fitting. So all you're going to do is you're going to push the hose into the back of the gun, and as you push in, give it a little twist. That'll usually lock it in place well. Put the gun back in its storage there. The other end of the hose connects to the front of the turbine unit, right here. And again, it's just a push and a little twist, and that locks it in place. Now you're ready to start spraying. HVLP stands for high volume, low pressure. So what you get is a lot of air at a very low pressure. This gives you a very high transfer efficiency with virtually no bounce back. It really cuts down on overspray. We're at about maybe 5 to 7% overspray. That means about 95% of what's in the cup is actually going to land on the project. This is a great system for spraying any kind of furniture, trim work, your interior doors, even wood floors, anything like that. Now, keep in mind, this is low pressure. It's under 10 psi. Anything over 10 psi is not considered HVLP. So let me explain how the gun works. The air comes in the back of the gun and exits the nozzle, creating an air jacket that carries the paint to the finish. Because it's low pressure, that finish doesn't bounce off. Bounce off is a problem that you get with high pressure systems. Air is always flowing through the gun. It's always exiting the nozzle. This is called a bleeder gun. All HVLP systems bleed somewhere. They need to in order to relieve the pressure when the nozzle is closed. If they didn't, you'd burn out the motor in a matter of minutes. The turbine motor that comes with the Spray Station 5500 produces 42 CFM. That's cubic feet per minute of air at 2.2 psi measured at the nozzle. Being a turbine also has other advantages such as portability. This is a very simple system to maneuver and move around wherever you need it, meaning you can spray anywhere. Our Pro gun comes with stainless steel needles and tips and a Teflon lined cup, which makes it really easy to clean. We have a dynamic control trigger which allows you to pull the needle back slightly or farther, thereby controlling how much fluid is coming out of the gun. The angled pickup tube inside the gun allows you to spray at a 90-degree angle, either down or up, whatever the project needs. The first control I want to talk about on the gun is the air cap. This is what controls the fan pattern. So right now we're set on a vertical fan pattern, which means it's spraying up and down like this. A simple push and twist clicks it into the circle pattern. When you're at a 45-degree angle here on the front of the air cap, you're actually spraying the conical or circle pattern. Click it one more stop, now we're spraying a horizontal pattern. So the horizontal pattern would be more for going up and down on a project. The vertical pattern is going to be for going side to side on a project, and the circle pattern is for detail spraying. Moldings, trim, edges, that kind of thing. The second control I want to talk about on the gun is the paint volume control knob on the back of the gun. This is what controls how far back you can pull the dynamic control trigger. So this will limit the amount of paint going out of the gun. The combination of flow control, pattern shape, and distance to your project is how you control the size of the pattern you're spraying. So if I dial this way down, it's practically closed, so hardly anything's coming out, and I go to my circle pattern, what I can actually do is draw about a 1/4 inch line. This is a very controllable unit. So at that point, as I increase the flow, and I'm talking about maybe a 1/4 inch turn to open that up, it's going to increase the size of that spray jet. Each time I open it up a little bit more, the pattern gets a little bit bigger. Also, as I back up a little bit, it'll get bigger. So for most furniture projects, you want to be maybe 4 to 6 inches away, and for painting projects, maybe 6 to 10 inches away. One reason you want this kind of control is if you're spraying something that's 1.5 inches wide, you don't need a 6-inch wide pattern. That's wasted material. It goes past the project. Most likely it's going to land on something you don't want it to land on. So by controlling the size of the fan pattern, you actually cut down on wasted material and overspray that you're going to have to clean up later. The amount of material flowing out of the gun affects the atomization of the material. So if you've got too much material coming out, you're not going to get good atomization, and that's going to cause what looks like spitting. If you have too little coming out and too much air with too little paint in it, you can get orange peel. The Ehrlich Spray Station 5500 comes with a 2mm needle in it. That's what we consider our painting needle. If you want to do fine furniture finishing, I would recommend the 1.5. If you're going to do anything like automotive or maybe musical instruments, you're probably going to want a 1.0 so that you get the smallest atomization possible. Now we can also provide you with a 2.5, which gives you bigger droplets, and that's fine for larger projects where maybe you just need to get the material on the project and the quality of the spray is not as important to you. Now, keep in mind, these are low-pressure systems, so no thick fluids are going through here. So you don't really need to accommodate the needle to the thickness of the fluid. It's more important that you accommodate the needle to the style of project you're working on. In other words, if I'm painting a wall, a fence, or a deck, the 2.0 is just fine for that. But if I'm going to spray fine furniture, cabinetry, maybe my interior trim, I definitely want to switch to the 1.5 for that. The reason for that is that the smaller needle creates smaller atomization. Atomization is what happens when the fluid passes over the needle and comes out the nozzle. Right at the nozzle we get perfect atomization, and what we're looking for there is perfectly round, wet droplets that are equally spaced from one another. The farther away they get from the gun, the less equally spaced, the more misshapen they become, and the drier they are. This can lead to problems such as spitting and orange peel. Changing needles is a simple process. I'm going to take you through the steps right now. You want to take the hose off the gun. Use the tool that came in the kit I showed you earlier. Now I always keep a tray on the bench when I'm doing this kind of thing because we're going to have a few small parts that we want to make sure we don't lose. The first thing we want to remove is the air cap ring, and it's just a matter of simply unscrewing it. The air cap itself also comes off the gun at the same time. Drop those parts down into my tray. Take out the air diverter plate, put that in your tray, and now in here we've got our nozzle. This is where the tool comes in, and it fits perfectly around that nozzle. And all it takes is a little twist to get it started. And then you just finish it with your fingers. It comes right out. Now on the back side of this nozzle, there's a little white washer. You want to make sure that that white washer goes with the nozzle and you don't lose it. Another reason to have the tray here. Now I'm going to take the flow control valve off here. Just unscrew it, and you want to be careful because there's a spring there. This spring's very important. This is the part you guys always lose. Make sure it goes in the tray. Now the easy way to get the needle out is to just pull back on the trigger a little bit, and it pops the needle backwards. Slide the needle out the back. So I just took the 2mm needle out of the gun, and what I want to do now is I want to install the 1.5 for a fine finish. Now the needle and nozzle are a match set. They always get replaced together. So the first thing you want to do is you want to make sure you've got that little white washer on the back side of the nozzle, and it basically just screws into the gun. It's very simple. Get that thing lined up in there, and there you go. And you get it finger tight, and then you use the tool, the little wrench that fits perfectly around that, and just hand tight. It doesn't really need to be cranked down. As a matter of fact, if you crank it too far, you can cause problems. Now the needle's going to slip right in the back here. And then we replace our spring, our flow control knob, get that together. We're going to put our air diverter plate back in here, and it only fits one way, and it needs to fit inside the gun. There's a little spring on it, and you want to make sure that spring operates. The air cap goes over that. The air cap ring holds it all together. Needle's changed. Your spray station can spray a wide variety of coatings. For cabinetry or furniture finishing, from shellac to lacquer, varnishes to stain, latex, enamel, cellulose, primers, polyurethanes, acrylics, metal finishes, smooth masonry paint, water-based top coats, and aniline dyes. All can be sprayed successfully with your spray station. Please make sure to read all instructions and information that comes with your coatings. You'll find all kinds of information such as expected coverage areas and ideal temperature range for use, cleanup and safety details. Sometimes you'll even find some information about spraying.